All right, here we go. 5 o'clock Tuesday evening, week number 10. Get it right. Virtual course. This is 10 of 10. Last one. And the topic is 2020 NFHS football rules changes. We're not going to go over, as I understand, all of them, but just maybe the big ones that we should be aware of on the field. And we'll let Bob explain those. But as always, Bob, this is a 20-30 minute webinar just to get us in the rule book and start thinking football. Many of us won't start until, well, everybody in New Mexico won't start until spring of 2021, but you're kicking off on Thursday, like some other states. So good luck on your season coming up Thursday night. Wish I could be there. Wish I could be anywhere on the football field.
Yeah.
But a lot of us are jealous of those states that are calling. Ken?
Dennis, it's called football envy, and we definitely have that now. Yeah, we wish we were getting started, but anyway, Bob's website is www.getitrighttraining.com. Make sure you guys visit that. Look up his product, as always. Johnny on the spot with all the training for all around the country, especially with his software and virtual software coming up as well. Bob, it's all yours. Thank you.
Yep. And yeah, to kind of wrap this up, you all were one of the few that I'm aware of that's been doing these sorts of things. So, and I really commend you all for sticking with it, especially given the fact that, partway through this series, we found out that you all were going to delay the start and all. So, so good to go on that. So it has helped me out a little bit in getting the visibility out that this is a way that officials can get in their reps, given that there weren't a whole lot of spring scrimmages and summer scrimmages and things like that where we could get out there and practice as much as what the players were. So yeah, even though we're kicking off Thursday night, it has a lot of opportunity to be kind of sloppy. So hopefully the officials we get on the field will have their games up. Okay, so we'll talk about one of the new rules that we've got animated here. We always had the ability to take that direct snap from the snapper and spike the ball to the ground. So that was considered legal as an exception to the illegal forward pass rule.
Yeah, if you could just pull that rule up again and read it.
Okay. So it's 7-2-5, but there's an exception to it. So it's legal to conserve time by intentionally throwing the ball forward to the ground immediately after receiving a direct hand-to-hand snap, or receiving the snap from directly behind the snapper. So this is the one that shows the direct hand-to-hand snap, which is what everybody's used to. And then the new rule allows it to happen with a player in position directly behind the snapper.
Quick question. What if that QB muffs the snap and it touches the ground and then he picks it back up?
Yeah. Great question, because I was looking at that just before we came on. That was something that when I made these animations, that's when the rule originally came out. But now in the rule book, it says that the ball must have neither been muffed nor touched the ground. So if either of those two things happen, that quarterback muffing it or the ball hitting the ground on the way there, he can't spike that ball that way. So that'll be an illegal forward pass. So yeah, that's I got that highlighted in my rule book, and it's definitely something I'm going to have to add into the program here. So, good catch there, Ken. That's absolutely right on that exception.
And what's the penalty enforcement for that?
That is 5 yards loss of down or 10 yards loss of down. Illegal forward pass. Yeah, 5 yards loss of down.
Is that from the previous spot or from the spot of where the foul occurred?
From where he did it, the enforcement spot's the end of the run.
Okay.
So it's right there where he did it.
Okay. So it would go 5 yards back from say he spiked it at the 35. It would go back to the 30, and instead of being second down, it'd be third down.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. The other one I'm going to talk about tonight, I'm going to show it here in forward progress. And that's any time that if we're calling a timeout because of an injured defensive player or a defensive player that has an equipment issue, rather than setting the play clock to 25 seconds, what we'll have this year is a 40-second play clock on that. So there's the runner that's running into that defender, knocking that defender's helmet off. Play remains live. So once we get that defensive player off the field, we'll set that play clock to 40 seconds and give the ready for play.
Say that again. I lost you.
Okay. Before this year, so we have a defensive player whose helmet came off. If his helmet did not come off, and then that runner got tackled, we would have automatically set that play clock to 40 seconds. Now, what's happening this year? Well, let me stick with last year. Last year, what would have happened is since that helmet came off of this defensive player, when that play ends, we would have stopped the clock. We would have had that defensive player go off the field for one play. But since the clock was stopped by the official, we would have then just set the play clock to 25 seconds and then give the ready for play and then move on. What this presented was an opportunity for the defense then to save another 15 seconds on the play here. So what if we were at the end of the game and the offense has the ball inside the 5-yard line going out, and maybe it's third down right now or something like that, with only 30 seconds left in the game. What that could have done here was the defense being able to stop the clock, put 25 seconds on, and forcing that offense to run a play on fourth down and maybe give them a chance to score and win the game or do something like that. So now what happens is if we're stopping the clock because a defensive player is injured, or in this case, he has an equipment issue, we're going to set the play clock at 40 seconds. So in that scenario, I was just trying to make up in my mind, the offense could just let the clock run out and win the game. They wouldn't have to punt the ball to the defense or try to do something to eat up that time where the defense unintentionally would have gotten gotten the advantage. Did I explain that okay? You got it?
Got it that time. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, good to go. Okay, from an animation perspective, uh, that's all I've got here right now. I mean, we've got defining who's the designated representative for penalty decisions, halftime intermission if there's a weather delay. We're going to set the 25-second play clock, regardless of which team is awarded a new series after a legal kick. And the disconcerting act is moved from a 15-yard to a 5-yard foul. So I really didn't see a need to try to animate those at this time. We can talk about any of those rules if you all want. Otherwise, if for those that might not be familiar with the program, we'll kind of show the mechanics here, and I understand that just like a lot of other places, for any number of reasons, maybe limited in crew size because the number of officials you got or don't have, or sometimes the schools just aren't willing to or don't have the funds to pay for officials. So, so what we can do is take whatever crew size we want, and we range from 7 all the way down to 3. We show these vision cones as a way to indicate where the official should be looking and what his field of focus ought to be, and that determines how wide we've got those vision cones. These green markers, I've gotten various mechanics manuals from different states, so we included those in here. Pick the position that you're interested in. So we have those from the mechanics manual, best practices, and things like that. And then when you hit play, this one is goal line going in. So as the runner is proceeding off to the right side over towards the linesman side of the field, we'll use words like he's the covering official and he needs to have a tighter field of view. And if you're trying to explain that to a new official, they may not necessarily understand what you're talking about. Here we get to show how all the officials can go ahead and cover that play and not have the official watch the game. With this being in a 3D mode, we can click on that official, and now we can see what it looks like from his view of the field. We have that spotlight effect that puts that halo around there so that it kind of gets into their mind how they need to focus as that runner is coming towards their side of the field. And we also have a third-person view, so you can stand behind that official and see how he covers that play. That runner was short. He's going in to sell it, and he was raising his hand so that we can get that 40-second play clock started. A lot of times when we're doing group training, we tend to use bird's eye view. You can then compare that as you're going from a 4-man crew to a 5-man crew or any other sizes, you can go ahead and walk through those to show what the differences are.
And what's the second part of this training software or equipment that you offer with the goggles?
Yeah. So the way that I'm kind of putting this whole thing together, you would wind up using the Get It Right mechanics piece to teach what the duties, responsibilities are, show them what it looks like, and that becomes the first part of the training that you wind up doing. So what I'm going to share right now is a video that make sure I'm pulling up the right one.
And just so you know, Bob has offered to come to Albuquerque when and if we start our weekly association meetings in person. and to bring his equipment and train some of our future vets, whoever's interested in being put in the hot seat and be placed on the field right from our meeting rooms. So I think that's great that he's offered to come out here for a
Yeah,
training day. But he could also put anybody else in there. As far as I understand, he could put a veteran official in there, a referee, and actually explain to a new referee what he's looking at, what he's thinking, his pre-snap routine, and actually go through a series and teach an up-and-coming referee how to work a new position that he's never worked before. Is that correct, Bob?
Yep. Okay, here we go.
I think it's a great software for us to take a look at as an association and as a state. So, but at this point, does anybody have any questions about what we covered? The couple new rules that he emanated, spiking the ball in the shotgun, the helmet coming off defensive player, anything like that. Anybody have anything to add? How we're gonna incorporate that into how the association or the state wants us to officiate that?
I do real quick. If the helmet comes off via penalty, describe what the scenario is at that point.
The helmet came off because of like a face mask.
Yeah, let's say it was the runner grabbed the defensive back by the face mask and yanked his helmet off.
Yeah, then in that case, that's not an equipment issue. That's a foul. So that defensive player stays out there. He's not going to sit out it down. And then we're going to go ahead and well, there's going to be two things that's going to happen there. Is we'll mark off the penalty, and we could set the 25-second clock on there, the play clock. But now, if we're within 2 minutes of the half, the offended coach has the option of waiting until that ball is snapped, as opposed to starting the clock on the ready for play.
Right, and if it's not a foul, if it's just an equipment issue that it flew off during a tackle, it's not a penalty. It's just a 40-second. He comes out for one play, and we set it at 40 seconds, and we start it on the ready.
Correct. Yep.
But what I was getting at is there has to be some communication with the coach when they have an option like that.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. Can you see this video?
No.
Oh, okay.
You have to share your screen.
Yeah. It's
So is that 40-second, 25-second? Did you guys implement that in your state this year, or did you implement it last year?
the 40-second was nationwide.
Right.
All federation had that last year. Yep.
So it was mandatory last year. I just wasn't sure if there was a grace period or if everybody was on the same page last year, because I know we started it last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Can you see that video now?
Yeah.
Okay. And let me know if there's sound on it.
No sound.
Okay. Then I need to do something here in my share about getting that sound going.
While you're doing that, could you talk about when you put on the goggles, the virtual reality goggles, what you're actually seeing through the lens?
Yeah, that's what I hope to show here. Anything on audio now?
No.
Okay. Then I'll talk you all through that. And I'll give a link to the video in the chat. So what I'm talking about in the video is this was a drone footage of one of our training sessions last year, and we've all kind of been there, right? We've got all these back judges back here, first and second year guys, watching this guy be a back judge. The trainer's over here, and we're trying to communicate to him his keys, his positioning, and all that kind of stuff. We really don't know where this guy is looking. We don't know if these guys here in the back are paying attention to what's going on. We've got a bunch of umpires down here that's watching what they should be doing as an umpire when they really should have been back here with this guy. Of course, there's no room to put him there. And then as soon as the play is over, we're going to real quick switch these guys out so we can stay on schedule. And then we're going to get back into our classroom about an hour later and say, okay, what did we all learn out there? And they're trying to remember the plays that they ran and what they thought they saw. We're trying to figure out what they're talking about, what we thought we saw, and even if we're talking about the same play or not. And then we'll try to tell them what they should have been doing and not been doing. Let me bring it up some more. And then we get into game film. See how soon this happens here. Not happening quick enough. Okay. So of course, when we start dealing with huddle, here we're trying to evaluate a 7-man crew, and from the end zone shot, we only see 3 officials, and from a press box view, maybe we're only going to see 4. And while we're sitting in the stands trying to evaluate somebody, we try to look to see where their hat is pointed, are they really pointing where they need to be, and things like that. And then, of course, when the play is over, the huddle video that we got stops right there. So the next play that we see, they're already lined up in a formation, ready to snap the ball. So we miss out on things like dead ball officiating, marking off penalties, any kind of administrative things we had to do. And unless somebody is out there intentionally filming the officials, we don't get that kind of stuff on huddle. So, I'm not saying that we shouldn't use huddle for training, but it doesn't give us all the things that we need as officials. And that's what we're trying to do with the virtual reality. So that takes us to here. That's my granddaughter that's got the goggles on. She's about to watch a punt. And how many times have we trained back judges, and when they punt the ball, that they watch the ball in the air? And then we try to talk to them at some point at halftime or any kind of break, and the guy argues with you, I wasn't watching the ball. Well, so now what we're looking at on the screen here is exactly what my granddaughter is looking at in the goggles. So she is virtually on the field. So as we run this play, I told her to go ahead and watch the ball. So there she goes. So, we're going to have that official watching that punt, and I'll guarantee you're going to have that one that's looking at that ball, and we just need to tell them, no, you don't do that. So the nice thing is we're not sitting in the stands just taking notes or trying to remember what to talk to them about when we get a chance. Now we're sitting in a classroom environment, watching exactly what they're looking at and correcting them right there on the spot. So we had her go ahead and watch the ball, and then she's going to watch it again. This time she's going to do it the way that she should. She's one of my testers for the VR virtual reality program. She works for cheap. I pay for tennis lessons. So now what happens is we say, okay, we watch them punt the ball and then immediately go to the receivers. So now she can see that fair catch signal that she would have missed otherwise. So now with virtual reality, we take it one step further from what we have in the Get It Right program, where you can see these animations, because now you can actually move on the field, you can turn your head side to side, and change your perspective. Now we'll take it one step further here. Let me let this move up a little bit. Oh yeah, what we're doing now is if you're working on mechanics, you can go ahead and position yourself wherever you need to be on the field. Because if you're starting to change mechanics or you think you want to do something different, the virtual reality would give you the opportunity to position yourself anywhere on the field, see what that official would see before you start committing to how many yards behind the receivers you want to be, or wherever you want to position that official on the field, and you can modify your written mechanics using this to, as a tool to make that happen. Because the next segment, we're going to talk about what's called mixed reality. So in virtual reality with the goggles, we see exactly what the official is looking at. Now we're going to go into mixed reality here. So now I got my grandson doing this one. So we have the same 8 scenarios that we have in the mechanics program. You start off up in this bird's eye view. You point at the official that you want to be. You can change crew size. He's changing the crew size right now. You point at the official, he lights up, and then you become that official. So there's Jackson in the first person view again. And what I'm going to have him do is let the formation form, and then he's going to hit pause. You hit M on the keyboard, and now you wind up in the bird's eye view in mixed reality. So as Jackson is turning his head back and forth, you see where that vision cone is moving. And we have a toggle on the controllers that when he starts moving all over the field, now we can also see where he is. So when we're back there trying to figure out our keys or something like that, if you're in the first person view, it might look like he's looking on the strong side of the formation, but until you get up into this view here and you see all those red and blue dots that shows where the players are, he might not be looking in the proper spot. So the mixed reality kind of puts everything into context then. And what we're doing is we're actually putting the players on the field too. So we're not just dealing with those dots out there. So there you can see where he was running. He's 10 years old, so he overshot the goal line. But, he's doing what I pay him to do. And then when we go back into that first person view, we can see exactly what he's looking at. So that's what we're doing with the virtual reality.
Hey, Bob, is it only a one user device, or can you put 5 officials on at one time?
Yeah, right now, when we start releasing this here by the end of the month, it'll just be a one person at a time kind of thing. Our next step is to go ahead and put multiple officials there. That's going to do a couple of things for us. Number one, that's going to force us into doing this online. That's what the kids use when they play Fortnite. They're using streaming services. So we'll do the same thing. Right now we've got the Get It Right program where you download it so you don't have to have an internet connection. When we go to virtual reality and start bringing in multiple officials, that's going to put us into the online mode. Now, where that's also going to help is I know the officials in Missouri, they have established crews, the same members all through the season. But some of these guys live like 50 some miles apart from each other. So it's hard for them to get together and talk about mechanics and things like that. Now what they'll be able to do is have their own set of goggles, sitting in their own living room or wherever they are, and they can all watch the same play at the same time. Um, Talking to my technical guys, I think we might be able to have that. And actually, we might be able to have that by the time you all start your season next year,
Oh,
next spring. So, there's some technical things that need to be done, but we're not creating new physics because again, that's what's happening in the gaming world right now for games like Fortnite and things like that, where you have multiple users out there watching the same thing at the same time. So we'll just adapt that to the Get It Right program.
great. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions before we run out of time? We're at 30 minutes right now, so here's your chance to ask any questions. Anything that we've covered the last 10 weeks in the Get It Right course, which is a free course, which we're very grateful that he spent so much time with us during this off season and showing us a lot of
Hey, Dennis,
rules.
there's one in the chat room. You want to read
Okay.
it?
Yep. I have a theory, or do you mean philosophy? Why is spiking the ball to stop the clock allowed, but not chucking it past out of bounds? They're both examples of non-action with a ulterior motive. Why was the spike brought into the game anyway?
Well, it's a matter of time of flight. If you can spike the ball and do that within a second or two, you're going to throw the ball. Maybe that's 3 seconds, 4 seconds, five. Those couple extra seconds are going to make a difference. The other thing we have to watch out for on something like that is if there's not an eligible receiver in the area, you could be chucking the ball out of bounds and we're going, well, wait a minute, what are you doing? So, you could wind up with an illegal pass in that regard and losing yardage. So the whole idea of spiking the ball is to do it quickly, and it's just more of a recognized part of the game. That's me talking. I'm not referencing anything. I'll just leave that to folks that have been around longer than me.
Right.
It's been around ever since I've been officiating. So,
right.
How it started, I don't know.
And rules change. We see that rules change every year. We get rid of rules, we add rules.
Yeah.
And so it's just the football gods. That's what they give us.
Yep.
And that's what we need to enforce. So again,
Bob, we thank you for these 10 weeks, Bob. I really appreciate your time, and I know a lot of guys got a lot out of this.
Well, I thank you. I'm glad you all did it. I mean, this helps me as well, not only for getting exposure on the program, but I'm trying to get myself ready for the season as well. And we hope ours lasts longer than 2 weeks. So
right.
We'll see how it goes.
And again, thank you. This is the end of the summer webinar season. We're going to take a break until sometime the end of September, beginning of October. We want to take about a month off or so. Just depends on how it goes. See what happens between now and then, and we'll send emails out when we're firing the system back up. And we have some topics already being put on the list to talk about, like the new mechanics book, the 2020, 2021, 2022 New Mexico mechanics book. We want to start diving into that because that came out. I have that on PDF, but the NMOA's office has all the books to hand out. And we'll just continue. And I think we said between 10 to 12 webinars that we want to start up in the winter to get ready for the spring. And if anybody has any topics they want us to talk about, get a hold of us. And or if you want to present any training, the floor will be yours for an hour. And again, thank you, and we'll talk to you soon.